This is the Last Giddy Farmer podcast.
Hello everyone, I welcome you to the 10th episode of the Last Giddy Farmer podcast. I really appreciate you listening to me, the guest speakers this far. You've been really helpful in this journey of the podcast, and I really appreciate you, and I hope that you'll always be around to listen to what I have to say, what the guest speakers have to say. I really thank you. This time around on the 10th episode, I joined Bunmi Agbato to speak on international entrepreneurship, global business, where we address two markets from Africa, Nigeria, and also UK. We are trying to see the opportunity with globalisation, where we have small businesses, agribusiness and agri-food accessing international opportunity. And we are trying to see some of the challenges they face, what the true opportunities are there, looking at vivid examples and, how to properly internationalize as an entrepreneur, a small player, and also, a growing business, and also how to, establish your business such that accessing international opportunity is easier. And we are looking at what the government, could do to support small business providers, to make them more competitive with their peers and to make their products, stronger, help them with certification, financial instruments, to properly run operations sustainably. And we are talking about the proper structure as well. So these are all the things that we'll be looking at, and Bunmi shares her experience operating in the landscape, also she advises would be entrepreneurs, small business owner, on undertaking academic pursuits, personal development, personal improvement, that not only helps them as a person, but helps in driving their businesses and various venture forward. I welcome you once again, and I say thank you. Do listen to us and stay tuned. Really appreciate you, for joining the event today. Is something I've really been looking forward to. Having you on the space with your immense experience in the agribusiness, agri-food, agriculture, aquaculture, and value addition space. I must say that you're more like a multi-talented individual. Like you're well-rounded, and who else to help us understand some of these things here. So for those that are just joining us, I would let you know what the event today is about. We are speaking about agri-food business, trying to compare the Nigerian and UK market. So basically what we have been seeing is that the world is not a global village here. Everything is interconnected, integrated economy, the internet, and we are seeing migration from both from the global north to the global south, and from the global south to the global north, driven by opportunity, and right today the global economy has grown by 4,500% since 1950. In the 1950s, where we had the Bretton Woods Agreement, and the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, and we have institutions that were promoting international economic cooperation, like the IMF, the World Bank, the World Trade Organization, so we are now seeing trades, regional trades, EU and Africa, countries like the UK and Nigeria. So as of today, right now, the value of the trade between the UK and Nigeria is £7 billion actually. So, and this is really impressive in the sense that just in 2014 it was just £3.1 billion. So it's more than doubled within the space of 9 years here. So this shows
immense economic activity and immense opportunity here. So
Mm-hmm.
just to give the people brief overview, so we understand, why we are discussing this, and why we have to talk about this today. So I don't really want to bore you with the details, and I would just want you to, to briefly introduce yourself to the audience so they know who you are, and they can get a feeling of your mission.
My name is Olubunmi Agbato, and you wanted me to be as detailed as possible, don't you?
Yeah, of
Right.
course.
Okay.
Okay, let me
So,
just give you a brief of what I expect from you. Of course, your name, and
mm-hmm,
where you are. I'm not
mm-hmm,
talking about your location exactly, that your region. What
mm-hmm.
you presently do, what you have been doing in the agricultural space, and so people can follow
Oh,
your
yeah, I
mission,
understand.
your
So my
activity as
name
well.
is Olubunmi Agbato. So I would say that I'm a startup entrepreneur, small scale. By the UK definition, we could say micro mini, right? And also, I am an agriculture person. I'm actually more into value addition. So I used to be in production aspects of aquaculture. So my core area will be aquaculture and fisheries management. So talk about the likes of catfish rearing, catfish production, talk about fingerlings production, talk about agricultural engineering aspects, feed and nutrition, all encompassing as long as it has to do with fish. Talk about construction, talk about land marking and all of that. So, but my core area would be processing, marketing, and I think the new word would be value addition. So a lot of people just say value addition because when you take something from a state to another state, we're talking value addition. So I will call myself like I used to call myself back in Nigeria. I used to call myself a value addition pro because I mean, I used to call myself a value addition pro because everything I try to do is just to take something from a state to another state to make it more valuable, to to appreciate more value, to have more shelf life, to have like a global recognition, so that taking catfish beyond the shores of Africa, beyond the shores of Nigeria. So that's what I do. And what am I doing currently? That is what I'm still doing currently. But I would just say we are the incubation state in the UK, and that's because of relocation. So I hope I've answered my question. That's not to say that I'm a mom. I'm a mom of two beautiful, wonderful boys. I'm a wife. I live in the UK. I currently graduated from my master's degree. So I'm no longer a student. So I think, or you think I'm a student, I'm no longer a student. Like at the moment, right now, I was a student 2 months ago. So 2 months ago, I'm no longer a student. So I think that's good enough to start.
Thank you. That's really interesting, I must say. And if I've not told you this before, I'm saying it today. You are really one of the company that I look at in the aquaculture space, honestly, because you bring this kind of, different approach to it. You're always, improving, bringing new product, like,
Yeah,
uh,
I'm
uh,
innovative. I know. I
yeah,
know. Thank you very much. Thank
vertically
you.
integrating, and also exploring horizontal integration
Mm-hmm.
also. Like, it was you that I saw, you made this fish box that is like the cereal box. And it was
Mm-hmm.
really, appealing. And if I could mistake it for cereal box, like, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't know that it's fish inside,
Fascinating. Yeah.
just to talk about how impressive the packaging is. So just to go with what you've shared with us, the things that you do, I see that you have a lot of things, going on, and I tend to wonder, uh, I'm not going to call you a student anymore, although you just graduated 2 months to now, you are nursing children, and you're also running diverse businesses. So I was wondering how you tend to combine and effectively handle these things. I'm going to ask you, do you think this brings a huge toll on entrepreneurs, and particularly challenge women entrepreneurs, you know, uh, undertaking different things, juggling them together. We love to hear your thought on them, because it's really important that you help me to answer this, because this is also one of the things some women entrepreneurs face. So I want to understand for your perspective. Thank you.
So first of all, I would say that an entrepreneur is different from a women entrepreneur. So it's time for pointing that out, because it's actually very huge. And then second of all, I would now say that being an entrepreneur is one thing. Being an agripreneur, that is an entrepreneur in the agricultural space, is another thing. So it's actually very taxing. It's actually very huge. So, but there is one thing I would say. I won't just say planning as one of the core thing. I won't just say, oh, it's planning. We have been planning. No, no, no. I would just say that whatever it is we're living at this time is something we've actually maybe had in mind as a dream at some point. So, like this popular saying that say dream is free, isn't it? To dream is very, very cheap, but the goal actually takes a lot of hard work. So all those processes, all the hard work, all the sleepless nights, all the toiling, all of those things, all the dedication are things that has been done. And then when the results now comes out, people just say it's planning. No, it's actually not planning. We only leave out what we have actually maybe like conceived in our heart. And planning is key. Like I said, you would have planned before all those things would be executed, right? So juggling all of these things, first of all, I don't know if I'm permitted to go a bit spiritual. It's very important to not take out God, because it's going to be as if you're the one doing it. Like is well, it's just because God wants you to do it, because there are a lot of people with similar dreams and all of that. So I would say that the God factor, that is one. And then second of all, you need to have people around you that are supporting of your dreams. Maybe not a lot. At the end of the day, those people you think might be supportive of your dream might not exactly support your dreams. You know what I mean? So it might just be one person. My spouse is also in the same space. You know what I mean? So it makes it really easy. So when I'm talking my jargons, it can relate, unlike if it's somebody in another sphere of in another work ethics or work discipline. So it's easier for us, sort of, when I'm saying something, it can relate to what I'm saying. So that kind of help us. So I might be the one out there, like you see out there, but I tell you for free, I can't be the only person in production, the one in customer service, packaging, labeling, branding, blah blah blah, etc. So definitely I can't do that. So this thing, like I said, it's just like before my relocation. The first question and the big question, because I know definitely you are going to ask me, and just the way every other person wants to know, is what about your business? People always forget the fact that I'm a woman. They don't even ask me, how are you? Like, people don't ask me, oh, how is your son? Or, oh, you're pregnant. Oh, how is your family? No, people just go, how is your business? What's going to happen to your business? So definitely you should be able to know that it's two things. It's either we decide that we're shutting down because of course we're relocating, or we must have a plan. So I think in this what are we doing now in this podcast or whatever we are doing right now, you want to know what the process is, what the plan is that we put in place. So first of all, there is a plan, and the plan is for expansion. At the end of the day, it's for continuity, it's for sustainability, and it's also for knowledge acquiring. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see what is the international perspective, because I kind of feel like what I am doing is a lot more and valuable beyond the coast of Africa, beyond the coast of Nigeria. Why am I saying this? Because most of my customers, even from my own insights, even from what I could generate, it's obvious that these people are not even Nigerian based, right? So I was really curious. I want to be part of where they live. I want to understand, why are they even, why do they think it is Nigeria? I want to buy what I'm eating. Why are they not buying it over here? I want to just be part of both worlds. See, whenever I was a teenager, or let me say at 21, when we came about the name B Spice, the name of my product would have been B Spice Global Product. So I want it to be as global as possible. So right now where we are, we might be moving at snail speed, but definitely we're going somewhere. You know what I mean? So we need to understand where we are right now. We need to understand the environment. We need to do some visibility study. We need to do some assignment. we are really taking our time because, of course, we're into this before, and it only makes sense that we don't make mistake at this point that we are. You know what I mean? So that said, we had a plan. And what was the plan? I might not be able to share all of it, but we know for sure that we're going to face a lot of challenges. We face them. I don't know if we're diving into the challenges now, but the pure plan was just that we need to have somebody back home, who is going to face this production, who understand everything, pari passu, from production up until delivery, all of the process, all of the production chain. We need to be very sure that we have somebody who is into that, which we did, which we found. But that is not to say that is from our own point of view. How about the fact that the person can say, oh, I don't want to, I also want to jackpot like you. You get what I mean? So I'm trying to tension it down a little bit. So we have like a plan A, we have like a plan B. So one of the plan for us before we started was to have like a concrete structure before leaving. What I mean by structure is not like a professional structure as per, oh, you have a tech person, you have a this, you have a that. No, because those ones are actually a lot financially. But I mean like a structure, like a structural building, whereby you know that whatever it is, you have something to fall back to. Like, there won't be anything shaking in terms of your business. What's the worst case that can happen? You change your staff, but there has to be a production chain, a production building, a structure like that. So that's one of the things we did. And another thing we did was to look for a good manager at the time. And then we planned. We actually planned. We have a time frame for everything. Like I always, like I can like, sitting down right now, I know for sure I have like a 5 years plan, I have like a 10 years plan. So sometime we might even meet some earlier than we thought, and some later than we imagined, but we're always prepared for everything. So at the end of the day, we just plan. We put things in place. We have the whole idea to be that, okay, somebody has to be back home. You need to produce, even though we have to do some routine check, even though we have to put some policy in place or some visitation and all of that, check, like a routine check, and then bring it back here. We had all of those plan in mind because we know for sure UK is a big market. The rate at which it was going from 2020 year, from the COVID year, the rate at which it was going, see, I'll tell you, we doubled by 250%. It wasn't even 100%. We doubled by 250%. So you know what I mean? Say if somebody is making 5 naira, the person just went up to make it like 500 naira. Do you know what I mean? So it was now something worth looking into. It was, so we four of us started by creating a niche for ourselves. We four of us said, okay, this is the first thing we need to do. We've gathered our farmers. This is a good time to close down production. So when I mean closing down production, it won't be the value added production. It will be the live fish production by culturing the fingerlings, putting them in the ponds and doing all of that. So the first thing we did was, this one, you need all attention possible, because we faced a lot of challenges, even back home in Nigeria, pay free, so many challenges. So that one had to go, like this had to go. So what are we doing? We're doing fish and other food businesses. So, it's just like when you have, like I said, dream is free. Why is dream free? Because it's in a crude state. It is not clear. So the moment it becomes clearer, you start, dropping some things, picking up some things that are useful. Say, for instance, we had to drop production of catfish, having to buy fish feed and all of that. Instead of that, we started bagging our own feed to sell to other farmers. And what we tell them is that, okay, because our FCR is very good, because we could actually even still come back to buy from you. Because look at it, it makes sense to sell processed fish, dry fish. I think Toibu will understand with me the reason why I said that it makes sense. The risk with live fish is just a lot. Imagine waking up one morning and the pond is floating. I don't want to say more than that. And all the fish are dead. But when it's in the dry form, you have saved yourself a lot of costs. You have already harvested your fish. You have processed it. Some will take about 6 months before spoilage. It can even last up until a year on the shelf. So that way you have reduced your cost of the risk or your loss or wastage in a way. But when it becomes when you are into production, I don't know, some people are doing it, some people are able to combine it well, but for us we have to trash that. So that is one of the plans. And in order not to digress a lot, that is why we now say, okay, we need to add other products that are also shelf life worthy, like things like food stuff, like snail, relative products, or let's call it what do they call it, like a relative commodity, something that you can buy together with things. Say you're buying fish, you can as well say, oh, you want to buy dry meat, or you want to buy snail, and all of that. Did I answer that part, Toib? Or is there something
Yes.
you want me to take
No, 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 no,
aside?
no. Yes, yes, you did. I even like that, you um expanded into some of the challenges that you face, and how you were able to surmount those challenges. First of all, I think that there's a whole lot of lessons for people that are listening to us, entrepreneurs, small business owners, to unpack from what you've actually said. And one of the things that I took is that the whole success of the business is not overnight. There's a whole lot of work behind the scene that is ongoing, that has been done, and it takes a whole lot of time. So when you just see the success, you know that a lot have been done in the past and presently being done. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of it, and I like that you expound on the opportunities, especially after COVID. It was during that COVID period that we saw increase in digital activities, that people started
Exactly.
going online. There was lockdown and people couldn't move around, and it accelerated e-commerce. Yeah, and it really does make sense in that way to follow the trend. And if you are running a physical store, to um, jump on what is presently uh, going. So in that line, I just want to quickly assess the opportunity in the UK market here.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reason why I want to talk about it, you would see later that when you look at the trade between the UK and Nigeria, is what, about £7 billion here,
Mm-hmm.
and Nigeria represents 3 billion of the 7 billion. That means UK represents 4 billion, Nigeria represents 3 billion. So there's actually a trade deficit of 1 billion for Nigeria. That's negative trade deficit here. So when you look at that trade export from Nigeria, you see that 45% of the 31 commodities exported from Nigeria is actually um, agricultural and food
Agriculture.
commodities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but when you look at in terms of the value, the sum, the earning of what it represents of that 3 billion trade is just 0.4%, despite taking bulk of the commodities. So what we see is that mineral fuel, oil, and distillated materials, they represent 35% of that seven of that of most of that 3 billion. So I was going to ask you that, do you think there is opportunity for agri-food with this start, and based on what you see on the ground operating in the field, do you think that agri-food and non-oil commodities are not giving much focus and could be a huge market? I know that you are seeing it on ground. You are seeing, we are moving things, we are exporting a lot of things, but when you come to the numbers, it's not really reflecting as it should be. So I'm not saying that there's no opportunity. So the question comes in two ways. I'm asking that, is there really opportunity in that space, or do you think that you know exporting of food and agricultural commodities is not giving enough focus, and it could actually be bigger than that if we paid attention to it? I would love your thought on that.
Okay, thank you very much, Taib. So what I think is, see, Nigeria is actually a very big country. Permit me to use this word about our lack of important and reliable data, So I cannot categorically say that there is no profit or maybe the margin is that small. See, it's sorry to take you a little bit back. See, statistically, where Nigeria is and where the UK is. So those numbers are not adding up. There is a need for us to, constantly update our information and our data and our statistics. So that statistics to me, I don't know where it is coming from. But that is not to say that having been here, there is something I also realized that most of this produce that we actually think we eat here as Africa are not necessarily from Nigeria. See, a lot of plantain imported here are not from Nigeria. Yams are not from Nigeria. And that is because there are a lot of cumbersome procedure that Nigerian, will I say entrepreneurs or big ballers are not necessarily able to face it. They are not necessarily able to do all the documentation and the paperwork. And some that are able to do it I don't know, for some reason, there is no continuity. For some reason, there's data loss. When it comes to serious data, there's data loss in Nigeria. There is scrap data. There is a lot of things that is going on because you just realize that looking at those numbers, the numbers is actually very discouraging. If you're looking at bringing a big investor into the game and they are looking at the digits, it doesn't really make sense, does it? No. But at the end of the day, the question is, there are a lot of Nigeria coming into the UK. There are a lot of people trooping into the UK. Well, I used to say that for now, there might not be a lot of margin yet, but have we not even be able to see that the numbers of stores, African stores, the numbers of African food being imported in the last 3 years had tripled already? But that has not even reflected in this statistic or in the data. And that is because some of these things are not even done. They are not being imported in the right manner. They are not following, how will I call it? They are not following the right process. So it is off the record. Take, for instance, there is a cargo company who has registered to be in charge of, selling only non-consumable goods to the UK. But whenever they ship, 70% of what they have in the luggage are actually consumable goods. They have food, they have fish, they have all of that, seasoning. And then that is, I don't know if I'm saying, I'm bringing out what I'm not supposed to bring out. But at the end of the day, the package is being shipped as though it is clothes or maybe some other things that are not consumable. But the bulk of what is in there is actually food. And that is why a lot of Nigeria in the UK still believe that buying from home is actually cheaper. Why would they think so? Because they have the people, the supplier moving the food in, have moved it through the wrong route, and at the end of the day, it becomes cheaper to them, and they make it look like, oh, it is actually cheaper to buy from home. Well, of course, among other reasons, some will say it is fresher, they just made it, So all of those things will not actually add up to the data. But for people in the grassroots, for people really doing the work, even in the social space, you should be able to count the number of people that have started doing this business, that has come into agriculture, into value addition, into food business, and the way they are exporting. Where are those food going to? Are they dumping it in the river? Are they just getting halfway and then they disappear? So see, for a fact, data and data collations and stuff like that has always been a big issue in Nigeria. Has always been in different sector. Like, somebody can give you one information, most of them might be non-verified, some might be as far back as 10 years ago, 8 years ago. So that is that. But I want to tell you from my own point of view that I see a lot of prospects in the UK market, in the food business in the UK market. I see big prospects. I see a lot of potential. It's going to take a big turn, say 5-10 years. It's going to be very different. Because do you even have any idea how many UK right now feels like the 37th country of Nigeria? Do you even like, Well, not where I stay, but based on what I know and what I see, there is a lot of people. So they are going to eat. They're going to become more comfortable and more relaxed, and they can afford all these things. They're going to eat. They're going. You see many stores opening, like almost every time now. You see new stores, new. It's because they are making profit. Although that is also because, like I said, an issue of data. That's also because the majority that has taken up the food business are the small scalers. Some are not even registered. Some are, it's more or less like it has been the huge chunk would be women, right? They will be female. So some of them are just doing it like small in the house. It's not really looking to as if it's a big business. But let me tell you for a fact, is what you also know, that SMEs are the backbone of the economy generally. Like they take 65% already. So it's just like when you call somebody an SME and they are doing their thing, they are making their profits, that millions of SMEs will push a lot. And because they are SMEs, they might not be able to, follow some due protocol or some due procedures from the beginning. And there are some guys, you will never know them, that are able to support their business or help them to, move their things from one place to the other because they are making their own profits. And, so those things are not accounted for. And that is why I would say from those figures, when I saw the figures, from those figures, I feel like, no, this is not where we are. I don't think this is where we are from my point of view. But I know for sure that the food business, the viable business in the UK, because obviously the UK has data. They keep telling us how many people have entered their country and how they are even willing to shut down people from coming in. So where are these people living? Who are these people buying their food from? And these stores that keep opening, who are their customers? Who are they selling to? So how come we're not making? But that is like what I said earlier also, that is not to say that all of the food being eaten by Africans or Nigeria in the UK are from Nigeria. And that is because of licensing issue, following protocol, cumbersome procedures, and all of that. And because of the name, because of the way Nigeria has been. In fact, even if the procedure is supposed to be seamless, the fact that it's a Nigerian person behind it, it has to be double checked for everything. All the I's has to be dotted, all the T's has to be crossed, and before you look at it, somebody who is into business trying to make money is just going to get somebody to help to like boycott some certain things. The food is cheaper. People in the UK feel like, oh, is this, is that, and so many other things. But from my point of view, I think that is going to grow, and I think that is going to like escalate. It's going to be very big. It's going to be massive. See the likes of I know there's this Ades African store or something like that. They've been operating in the UK for years before they even think of giving birth to me. You know what I mean? They've been operating here for years, and the only thing the business is doing right now is establishing and expanding into different regions of UK. They're moving from England to Wales to Scotland. Why are they moving? We have a new one. We have so many of them. We have Wosiwosi, we have Ogbonge, and we have people every day constantly investing in aquaculture in Nigeria. You bear me witness, people investing in RAS, recirculatory system, doing everything, even aquaculture, even AI in aquaculture at the moment. So why are people going into investing as much when there is no prospect? As far as I'm concerned, like you and I already know, no matter how hard the situation is, I always see the bright side. That's all I see. And me picking myself out of Nigeria to saying that my product, I feel like is better beyond it because I'm creating a certain niche for myself. People buy in Nigeria, of course, why not? But the kind of people that buy or that I want to buy, the medium income earners, and the kind of people that I want them to buy and enjoy the luxury of the products we're offering, there are people that maybe not now, maybe in the next 2-3 years, it will take somebody who can think beyond what they see at the moment, beyond what is going on, to know that it's a viable business. Because those people, many people might have been students now. If they intend to stay back, they will become high income earners, they will become medium income earners, and they will one day realize and think about their health and see that, why do I choose to buy a meat from Nigeria when I cannot even be sure if it is a dead goat? Why is it this cheap? The moment they are relaxed and begin to question their health and see what they are going to eat, all these businesses are going to grow. They are going to leave their bedroom and they are going to grow, and they are, as long as they are able to meet the standards. So the UK standard is also one of the things that would actually not make those things accountable for, because it is not registered. They are not saying, there is no, let me call it, there is no paperwork to it. In Nigeria, we have remind me, what's the name of these people apart from NAFDAC, the one in the aquaculture sector? We have Neoma, we have this one that usually, like, what's the name of this organization that certify people into food and food businesses and all of that?
Son?
Yeah, that is not Sun. Sun and NAFDAC could be doing something similar, but this one is very different. It's in the aquaculture space.
Are you talking about international certification organization, not necessarily in Nigeria?
No, I think there is this one that they are really into fish and fish. I'll look it up. They are really into fish and fish products, but there is not a time, because I belong to the Catfish Association in Nigeria, and I see their updates every day on all these groups that we have. I do not see anybody giving us any figure, like in Naira and Kobo, what it is they have been able to push out. It's just complain, challenge. But people here are buying food and they are eating.
All right, so
Or are you not selling to the UK market store?
yeah, I do. I actually export to Australia, to UK and US as well. You know what it is. So honestly, I really do share, similar opinion with you that there is actually opportunity in the agri-food business in the UK market. And just to let you know, the source of the statistics that I cited was from the Office of the National Statistics in the UK. It's not from Nigeria, but I do understand that a lot of things go underreported, especially when it is informal, and they are being taken in silos, very small, to actually be accounted for. Yeah, so it's even with the stat that we even have about the African population in the UK, you would see that there's a big African consumer population. Africans now form 2.28% of the UK population as of today, and it used to be that in 2001 they just formed 0.38% of that population, of the UK population. So, and this African population, Nigerians, they form significant part of that population. You find them, in London, in Manchester, Peckham, every other part of the UK, and they are one of the most economically active ethnic minorities in the UK. Was it in 2022? It's not too far from now. It's kind of recent, and the whole Nigerian diaspora, talking about students and their dependents. They generated about £2 billion in earning. Is crazy. This informs of the rich target audience. So moreover, now we have it such that, like you've explained before, the African food is gaining wider appeal beyond just the reach of just Africans, saying Africans consuming African food. But you're having other races now consuming African food.
Yeah.
The Chinese, name them. So in UK today, we have the ethnic minorities food, which includes the Africans, constitute 19% of UK food culture. Yeah. So I was just looking at. I would just like to know like, what do you think can assist, entrepreneurs exporting to the UK, those also operating in the UK, like some sort of measures that would actually, assist them in performing, better. You mentioned quite some things. Is there a way that government could, support them, that they could actually make them and become competitive, and can compete in the international market with the other peers of player? What do you think?
Okay, so if I get that question quite all right, is that what would entrepreneurs do to be able to, venture into the UK markets?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
what do
saying, what sort of supports can the government in Nigeria give entrepreneurs in aiming at exporting to the UK, to make them more.
Okay, so first of all, let me tell you something. There is first of all, well, we'll say it for the benefits of this our podcast or this agri space, but I wouldn't say that the government helping people to like push food into the export market would be like a thing at the moment. You know why? Because there is a lot of market in Nigeria itself, and if something is worth exporting, is not something worth stressing over. Say for instance, crude oil. There is a need to export crude oil. There would not be anything so like everybody knows that, oh, this place is in need of this thing, and this place has a lot of this thing. So there is a need for export. So first of all, there has to be a need for export. Like I said, all the African food all the Africans in UK are not necessarily Nigerians, and all the food being brought here are not necessarily from Nigeria. So that being said, the thing that will encourage government to actually want to like assist in food exportation would be to create, I've always said this thing in any platform I found myself, even back home, is to create a one-stop shop, is to create a standard, you know first of all, to create, say, like a processing facility, or like something. It has to go through a process. The UK is not lawless, and it's not you cannot just bring anything inside and you just say, oh, you want to start selling stuff in here. And to follow all this due process, not one, I don't know about the big players, but not one big spice would be able to, go through that cumbersome procedure. No. So there has to be like maybe like a production site, maybe like a processing facilities that has met up until the international standard. Everything that is required of them. You need the likes of your stainless steel to work. You need like a single chain. There's somebody that has to do like a quality control on your produce. Does it even meet the standard? You have to do your microbiological assessment and all of that. It's not something that somebody from the back of their house can just start one day and say that I want to, except there is a major funding. So the government would assist a lot in funding, in training and development, in awareness, in building facilities, and then in something, yeah, in extension, there's something you guys do, like a real evaluation and evaluation of stuff. Like at the end of everything, you have to like go back and continue to reevaluate, and then to keep doing training and development. So all of those things are key. It may appear like, oh, it sounded theoretical, or maybe this is just all research, but I'll tell you for free, those things operate here. And I'm not surprised that things are working, because there is maintenance culture. There is a reason why something that has been built for a purpose has to keep delivering on that purpose. So if a big investor is coming from, say, Australia or from the US, and like, okay, I'm interested in agriculture, I want to bring something back home, it's a lot of investment. It's a big investment. Imagine if it's passed the first time, you made a lot of money. It's passed the second time, you made a lot of money, and you decide that, oh, this is Nigeria, the security is not so chilled, I want to go back to wherever I'm coming from. I tell you for free, all the money you made, you might lose them. So for sustainability, for continuity, if the government has to be involved, it will also be like a big thing for the Nigerian government, because It will help them to, recruit a lot of people. So employment and the agri space will look fascinating. It will be fancy to all of us, but it's not something you can just say, oh, I want to just do by myself. If it's not just about I want to buy land, as people will say, let us just buy land. How much are they selling fingerlings? Fingerlings is 5 naira, be 20 naira. Let's just buy 1 million fingerlings, and then you just do all this Jack and Jill mathematics. I don't sell lies to people. There's no point selling bullshit. So I'm going to tell you this for free. If those things need to work, there has to be a proper measures. There has to be standard to follow. The facility to be used. There has to be like a lot of things. In fact, starting from the fingerlings to be what was it called, to be stocked in your pond, there has to be like a measures to be used. The use of antibiotics, all of those things. Because you cannot just say you have some money, you delve into this business, you put in a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of procedures, and then just one test by any international body nullify all your efforts. It doesn't make any sense. So why not just do it right from the beginning? So the government will help us a lot if they can, and if there can be association, and if the association can talk more about these things. There was something I shared with the FAO at some point about building a processing center for women, because I was vouching for the women and I was talking from the female perspective, because I know what I'm facing in the industry I am, and I know what is a challenge to me from exporting at the time. That was when all this, you said you saw this fancy conflicts, whatever, because I kept on thinking, how can I meet this standard? How can I meet all of this thing I'm doing? I thought of us told myself, there is no way I'm doing anything that has to do with the head of the fish, because I did a little bit of microbiology and I know that is where all this spoilage starts from. So they keep bouncing my products multiple times. So how are those products that are being smoked by the roadside with housefly being perched upon them, how are they getting into the UK market? So that's to tell you, that's just emphasizing the fact that some of these things are not accounted for and are off the records, right? So this one that you really want to push into the UK market, you really want to do it the way it's supposed to be done. It needs a lot of help, a lot of assistance from the government, from individuals, from personnel. People need to be trained to do things the way it is meant to be done. That is number one. When the governments are coming to do anything for us, they need to gather people that are technical. Let me say, people that are knowledgeable about it. People that this is their core areas. They have to be like an extensionist on ground, an agricultural economist on ground. There's a reason why all these people are different and they hold different arms. So when they are together, and they need to be paid properly, and they need to start seeing agri space as not just an hobby, as a business enterprise that is huge. Until then, all these digits and these figures, they will not even add up. The challenges I faced in my business at the time gave me an impression, because I actually put down all the numbers. Like I did my first master's in Nigeria, and I would have done something on product development, right? And I wasted a lot of money. I won't call it waste. I spent a lot of money doing some microbiological analysis of fish that has been smoked with gas, with firewood, with charcoal, with electric, which one has the highest microbial load, and all of that and all of that. And I know how much I spent. And that is just for a degree. So now imagine if I want to go into the business and I want to keep producing to standard of the UK market, beyond UK market, to all other international spaces, so that I want to, because if anything has to increase the GDP of the country, it must have the hand of the government. That means it's huge, it's big. And that was when I suggested this one-stop shop processing center for all women. I've not been into this space, but one of my professors told me about a processing center in China and another one in is it Cambodia or something like that, yeah. And that they have this very big processing center whereby people bring their different produce, and there's quality control. The moment you bring something that the threshold, the microbes threshold will kill people, or it won't pass, it won't fly, they will take it out. It's just like the milk industry. You know for sure that if milk stays for some time, will start, going bad and all of that. So if me as a fish processor, I cannot afford that, and the government is able to provide a place, and it has a name, and it has a structure, it's big, it's massive. If they are able to do that, Mr. A, B, C, D, E, F that are interested in exporting should take it through that production center. Until then, they should be producing for their immediate consumers. It's not going anywhere. So that's what I would just say.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I really believe that the agriculture and the agribusiness, space, they have much value. It's evidence based. When you look at our economy, agriculture forms about or over 20% of our GDP. Yeah. So when you look at this, what forms our economy, and what generates most of our earning, because what generates most of our earning from exportation is actually oil. Imagine that if we can push agriculture from
That big.
just producing within the country, producing to serve demand within the country, to push it to export. I'll give an example. The agriculture sector itself is accounted for most by crop production, about 90%, whereas we have livestock 8.1%, fishing 3.2%, and forestry. And we have a case of the livestock sector and industry. The industry is worth about is it 30 trillion naira, and it has potential of reaching 50 trillion naira. And what if we could push that? What we'll be seeing from our agriculture. You understand? So these are some of the things that we must.
And do you know how much of these things that actually even go to waste?
Exactly.
Why are they going to waste? There are no like a preservation, or a storage technique that are good. See the numbers of vegetables that just, go to waste on a daily basis. So many things in the poultry, fishery, all the agricultural sector. Look at all those things that go to waste. That is because if there is say for instance there's a proper freezing system, all those things that are going to waste, and instead of them going to waste, you freeze them immediately, you export. You freeze them immediately, it passes through the right production line, it passes through the right certification line, you get your licensing, you start moving things. That is not to say that there are not people doing these things. There are some individuals that they are doing it, but like I said, by people looking at them in Nigeria, they might have seen that, oh, these people are big players, and then they are doing large, massive production. But of the truth, they are still in small scale, because until you become that very large, that very massive, the hand of the government has to be in this thing. Like, it has to, for it to really fly, and for it to have like a continuity, a sustainability. But unfortunately, we are just where we are at this time, not because we don't know what to do, but I think it's just hard for a lot of people to do what is right to do.
Yeah. So I have a question here. So we've been talking about domestic companies exploiting global opportunities. When we see the issue of this globalization is actually two ways, as people in Nigeria are exploiting opportunities abroad. There are also people abroad exploiting opportunities, in Nigeria. So I was looking at globalization as it is really a pro for us, talking about merit or a demerit. First of all, when we look at our trade trade balance is with the UK, is negative. So I was thinking on that part, and on that part, are people really investing in the agribusiness space in Nigeria? My question might sound naive, but when you look at the trends, in the market, in the business operating environment, you're sort of scared. The inflation with input, the dwindling purchasing power of the populace, a whole lot of um, scary challenges. And when you look at, of course, the political aspect of the pestle framework, that you could just establish business today and just be you are not in favor of a government and they will just come and uproot your business. Yeah, what do you think? Are people really um looking
See,
investing in the agribusiness space in Nigeria, or are they investing? I want to be sure.
see, sorry, but I'm actually supposed to be asking you this question because
No,
you know that
I should ask.
I want.
I should ask you as well, because no matter where you are, you can
I
know
know,
anything.
I know it's not a matter of
Yeah.
location, but the reason I'm saying that I should be asking you this question is because I feel like you have the current information. Now, this is it. People will always invest back in the home country.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime. People will still say, oh, I need to go back to doing this, especially if it is their passion. You know, it's just that the number of people along the line might be reducing based on all those factors that you have mentioned, the economy, the inflation and all of that. And it's just not fair. It's very difficult that this is how the railway back in those days, how it just went down the drain. And I don't know if the Nigerian government is trying to put agriculture, they're not even making it very interesting. Maybe they are also trying to, put it as one of those sector that would just be just one of those. They're just trying to degrade it completely. I wouldn't even understand. But for sure, people will invest back home. And I'll say this, I'll give an instance. Whenever I was back home in Nigeria, a lot of people would call my husband. This is not my business, but because I'm his wife now, I know, don't I? And then they will say that they have this fish farm they want to revamp. They're always revamping. I don't know if revamping is the right word to use, but like they are restructuring, give me that word now. They are trying to rebuild.
Mm.
And that's because they've always had it. So the stories will be stealing, free, lack of poor management and all of that around it. And the story will be, oh, we see you as somebody who is trustworthy. We know you will be able to do this for us. And then they will say, just make sure that there is success. Just do this. Let me tell them, if anybody is listening in that area or will be listening later in that area, I will tell the person that agriculture is not a business you would do from diaspora. It needs your attention, it needs your availability, no matter the amount of money that you have. And if you're going to be giving somebody who is trustworthy your money to do it for you, best believe that a lot of people also want to give that same person to do it for them, which means there will be a lot of workload on them. I said I'm citing the case of my husband as an example. So he needs to produce quality feed for farm A, farm B, farm C, farm D. He knows it. What is he supposed to do? Train other people to know it. How are you going to be sure that other people are going to deliver on the job? And when other people also feel like, oh, I think I know it, I'm the boss here, I need to leave your job. I need to start my own. That there is just by the way. And another one will say, oh, I'm going to go and do it cheaper. Somebody abroad always look for something cheaper. For whatever reason, I don't know. I'm going to do it cheaper. And then they'll be like, okay, I don't want the boss to know. I'll call you back and I'll do that. That's just another part. So people abroad always believe that whatever they are earning here makes sense back home, obviously because of the exchange rate, right? But then again, availability is key in this sector. I'll tell you that for free. It is very key. It is not something you do from, if you are even going to be doing it from abroad, you need to have like a routine check in place. It's not if you plan to go in February, make sure you go in February. It's much more important than the wedding you want to attend, or the family occasion that you feel like, oh, no. Don't say, oh, I will go when I have this thing to do. Because that is how to actually track, to get your reports, to get something back. And you have to not be thinking that you are going to pay somebody 30,000 naira per month, 40,000 naira per month to deliver on the job. At least not very well. Right? So all of those things and the mentality of African people that want to just invest back home with just money and not being there, I don't think it will work. But then again, people will still invest back home because a lot of people want to settle back home. A lot of people still want to, like, when I'm older or when I'm, I just want to rest and I love agriculture and I want to do this. I would say that maybe 5 years to nearing the time you can start. But if you are still like 25 years away from this time, I don't see a reason why somebody wants to start. You just want to be sending your money. Again, I don't really know why people would say that they want to work very hard here and send their money back home where they are not seeing it, or have somebody that, can be there for them. I will not be able to answer that. But I will tell you that people are willing to invest back home. People keep investing back home. Agriculture is actually a very robust field that people are still very interested in, and it still have a lot of profit margin. Despite all this dwindling, whatever. Don't ask me if I'm going to do it though. Don't ask me. But I also want to ask you. That's why I said I should be asking this question, is that I dare know a lot of people abroad that have been like chatting up with you and then asking you, oh, I have this pig farm, are you into piggery? Because that is what we face on a normal day, like every day. Somebody will say, oh, Bee Spice, I have my organization, I have my company, and you're looking to pay me some money to go and help you with your farm, and you introduce me to another person. So it's a thing. So I know for sure that it will keep going up like that, because forget it. That consultation, that's having to help people to build, because people are looking for how to cost money. Yeah. And whenever they ring us and they say we need to start producing our own feed, what we are spending on feed, what my manager is the numbers I'm saying on feed is a lot. I've spent 3 million on feed this week. I've spent 17 million on feed that week. Bee Spice, I would want you to start producing feed for us. That way, once we want to establish our machines and that way, I know for sure that I'm going to be cutting costs. You are still not there.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually good to know that people are still seeing Nigeria as, a good market to invest, a rewarding market as well. So obviously,
Sorry to cut you short, Toyib. There's something I remember. See, there are some organizations that came to meet us at a point, and what did they tell us? They say that if you're interested in helping them to take up the fish that is being produced in the Atlantic Ocean in the frozen form. So now we were thinking about, we want to bring in what we have in Nigeria to them, and they are now saying no, that's not what we want to do here. What we want to do here is we want you as a student, as a master student, in anybody that has a group background. I remember they came to our class at the time and they were telling us that they want you to be like, how will I call it, like they are seer back home, and then they want you to be in Nigeria and help them to market the products that they have here, that like say they have mackerels, they have this, they have that, and they want you to gather a lot of people and they want you to do that for them. And we in Nigeria were saying that we want to take whatever we are. The only reason why Nigerians want to export is because of the exchange rates. They feel like they're going to get more money whenever they export, and it's going to make more sense. It's not because there's no market in Nigeria. The only thing that there won't be market in Nigeria for real, maybe tomatoes, and it's not true. Because what is that thing that you're going to produce in Nigeria that nobody will be buying in Nigeria? Just tell me. Think of one thing that is in Nigeria that people in Nigeria can't buy.
even the tomato, we have deficit that makes us import $1 billion worth of tomato paste yearly. So, and there is so much
Do you
opportunity.
think we have deficit in the fish industry?
What do you say? I didn't get that.
Do you know the deficits we have in the fish industry is very huge? Do
Yeah.
you know how much it is that is spent on importation every year on importing frozen fish? Do you know how much that is spent. I used to have the figure. I know it was in billion naira. I'm not sure of the current number right now. And then at the time, I was wondering, why are we? And that was when people started saying that, oh, for variety reasons, let's do tilapia. For variety reasons, let's do this breed, that breed. Let's culture our own fish more so that we will reduce importation. So just look at that. So it's just the way people view it, and this thing will keep going. Business will keep going. People will keep exporting. People will keep importing. So it just depends on the side the coin is facing. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's just it.
exactly. Like I was saying before, even the market within Nigeria is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Let alone exploiting market abroad. And I would say to people in the audience that if you are having any question regarding what we are discussing, or you want to make a contribution,
Mm-hmm.
then you are welcome. You can place it in the comment section that will address that. So I want to quickly ask you this. I was just thinking about, as this culture is being globalized, we have other races, people knowing about our foods, learning about our foods. They are even producing our foods here. We have a case like China is now producing gari
Mm-hmm.
and is exporting to Europe to target, African market here.
Because China knows how to meet up
So,
to the standard. Nigeria don't.
so it's actually in that line that I'm going to ask this question: that do you think the participation of foreigners, in this way helps to expand um, the market for African foods, or that is a demerit? It enables this sort of cultural appropriation and usurping of the Nigerian market. Where we have a case like China, they are more efficient with operation. And they are able to leverage business support from their country. And do you think that it doesn't put us in a better shape in servicing our people? What do you think?
Well, I would say that China is at the advantage because
I'm not using just China alone. No.
I know, I know for sure that there are a lot of, even Ghana, that is our sister, what do we call it, sister country, would have been producing, and we see a lot of products here that when we read it and we see where it is being produced, we realize that it's not even from Nigeria. It's not from Nigeria. Hardly will you go to shelves in big stores. Say for instance, you are in Tesco and you pick up a Nigerian made product. I've been seriously looking for. Or maybe you're in Sainsbury and you pick up a. So it's not like the foreigners, like people abroad, are not contributing to, you know, helping us to gain leverage, to make us be at the advantage side of, people buying more of our products. I don't think it is the consumer's fault in any way. Anything you want to do, it has to have a strategy, right? I don't think that our approach, it just generally, see, let me tell you, it is just the headache of our government. I don't think this thing we're talking about is even prioritized. You only get results when you put effort. What's the effort? Why would Ghana, most products that we buy here from African stores would have been from Ghana? Or maybe you look, a similar product from maybe Asian, or they will say they have something similar. We don't have the same food though, but they have a way of saying that Asians are also good cook, and they are good in spices, and they are similar. So they will keep pushing their own, We are now eating blend of. We're not exactly eating what we are supposed to be eating, or what is our own real food culturally, right? But we are eating blend of, because those are the ones that actually did the right thing, and those are the ones that, they're not scared. They're not the ones to hide the products when the supervision is coming. They're the ones that fly their products around, and they are the ones that do the right thing. I don't think there is anything the consumer is doing. The consumer is simply buying what they can see, what they can afford. So Well, if I get your question right, it's not like foreigners abroad are the ones that are not making Nigerian food to be accepted or whatever. We are just at a total disadvantage because we are not meeting the standards. That's what I think.
Thank you so much for that. I don't think that we would have to leave the small business producers, to their own challenges. If government does not help them, there should be a way that they should be able to help themselves. So I was just going to ask for that. I understand all this that small businesses are not able to uh, take leverage and also uh, internationalize like you would have for multinational companies. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that isn't there a way for them to still kind of get a leverage, like having some form of structure, or what do you think? Like maybe they could have structure, properly um evaluate their business to meet a demand. You get what I'm saying? And I just don't know. I don't think that we just abandon the small producers to their
No, no,
fate.
no, no. We can see we can abandon the small producer because I think that is even the small producer that are the backbone currently. Can you hear me?
Chill. I'm a chill. I can hear you.
Okay, so I think it is the small producer that are the backbone as we speak. They are the one that are doing a lot. They are the one that are, from the grassroots. They are the one that are making results because any big player out there is also actually maybe being supplied by the small producers here and there. So it's not like the small producers are we can't say that there's nothing that we can do. We can do a lot. We are doing a lot. We are also contributing. I mean it's obvious. You can see people, doing their own part, contributing to their own part, but it's it's nothing to just I don't know if everything can be, I don't know if I have solution to the problem at hand or if everything can be sorted via a discussion. But there are some deep things that I feel like it's is I wouldn't want to discourage people and I don't think it's best spread on air.
All right, that's good. So, I just want you to help us with a typical example right now. Let's say now I'm, a small agri-food producer from Nigeria, and I'm looking at entering the UK market. Yeah, like how would I, go about that? What sort of analysis, do I need to undertake that? You were actually speaking about some of the procedures rather that you took when you were
Okay.
thinking.
Yeah, I think I stopped because I wasn't sure if that was
Yeah,
what you
so
asked me at the time.
also know that how was the entry barrier for for a small business in Nigeria to establish in the UK. So you're talking about how to enter and some of the anticipated barrier. Yeah, and the barrier, is it high or low?
Well, the barrier is the barrier is actually high. It is not low, but it depends on how you're looking at it. If you have a lot of finances or you have a lot of funding, then the barrier for you might be low. But first of all, as I would do you mean a young entrepreneur? I mean, do you mean like a startup, or do you mean somebody who is well grounded in the agri space in Nigeria trying to establish in the UK?
A young entrepreneur.
So for a young entrepreneur, for somebody okay by young for somebody who is less than 10 years in the agri space and is very good at what they are doing, and they really want to like sell out to the UK, the bottleneck, mm, the first bottleneck is standardization, and that one goes hand in hand with financing because you need a lot of money. There's no way, except you want to cut corners or you don't want to do the right thing. There is no way possible. I mean, you need to first of all start to identify your products. You have already identified a product. You want to bring it into the UK market. There's going to be like a current check on your facility. Are you managing your waste, your pollution into the community and the society, your environment, and all of that? So you are going to face a problem back home as per your production space, what you have to do to meet. You're going to face the barrier of capacity, because before you can be able to say you start moving into the UK market, there's a certain capacity that is termed, that is actually economic, that make economical sense. Say for instance, you want to start moving your dry fish to the UK. It won't make any economical sense to want to start moving with 50 packs, because you'll be spending a lot of money, opportunity cost. So you have to also look at this law of demand. See, when it is very high, can you meet up the capacity that they are requiring of you? Say for instance, a store in the UK asks you for a ton of dried catfish, not wet. Can you produce? The moment you start saying yes, I can produce it, what's the big deal? What's the tell me the details? What do I need to do? It will. Some of our young entrepreneurs, we need to like come together to be able to say, oh, I can do 100, I can do 200, I can do 300, then we'll move it. First of all, do you have the finances to do that? Then you need to get paperwork done. You need to do certification. You need to, first of all, I think you need to be certified by NAFDAC. And I think NAFDAC and SON. But it is actually NAFDAC and this fishery organization. I think there's a fishery organization that has to do with fish. But for food products, SON, NAFDAC, and that organization, I think it's three of them, that has to do with fish produce. I mean, and then food produce generally. So say you're doing plantain chips and you have them certified. After the certification, another barrier you are going to meet here is that, where are you going in the UK? The UK is very big, and is there a market where you're going to? It won't be. It will be very. Uh, I don't want to be sarcastic. It will not be nice for anybody to come here and just see that, oh, because they say a lot of people are trooping into the UK. If I go there and establish my business, it's going to make a lot of sense for me. That would be like from a wrong perspective. So it makes sense for people to do their visibility study. It makes sense for people to do all this, their analysis. You want to know your environment, you want to do your SWOT analysis, you want to have knowledge of what you're doing beyond the finances. That aspect you're going to, you need to be well trained, at least be knowledgeable about it. Ask questions. You need your mentorship, and you need to get your mentorship right, because you want to come into a space that you yourself are not living. You need to understand people. I did a survey in my degree here, and I was trying to look at what kind of food are people looking to buy. Those are the things you need to do, because you want to start from your cash cow. You want to start from something that immediately it gets into the market, people buy it all up, and maybe some supporting products can be there, but you want to start with all of that. How do you know what your cash cow is? So sometimes you might actually even need to be here, or you might need to do some analysis within and outside. You have to do, I don't want to use book terms or business analysis terms, right? I want to make, because it's not everybody that is in the same sphere. So I want to say something like, you have to do some due diligence back home. You also have to do that same thing you did back home. You have to do it in the country that you're introducing the business to. So you want to know the population of that ethnic minority you're focusing. You want to know the kind of food that they appreciate. You want to compare costs. You want to do your pricing right. You want to come with a strategy. You want to know what it entails. What are the buying power now? So what age are they? You want to really know these people that are going to be buying my products, are they socially inclined? Do I want to use social media? How do I move my products? A lot of analysis has to be done, and it's not something you want to do in 1 year. It's not something you just want. And the first thing to do is not the money. The first thing you want to do is not the money. You have to get your analysis right. You want to gather a lot of data, relevant data, So drawing out all of these insights will inform you and will inform your decision of, okay, where am I situating my business? And the first barrier you're going to meet is the UK government. Because you want to bring something from Nigeria to be here. I kind of think it will make sense to also maybe partner with somebody who understands the environment if you don't want to be here. See, you want to have a robust relationship with somebody who is informed of the environment, the culture, the food, who have answers to all your many questions. And you need a lot of money, and you need your government backup also, because as time goes on, there's going to be so many. You just need backup, because the government has to be in your favor, because if any policy changes in Nigeria, you don't want to go bankrupt. I don't know what the government is going to do, but you that you're producing back home, you're paying your tax, you've probably insured your business. What do they have to do for you if anything comes up? Because as a startup, you have a lot of problems, you just do not know. So I think a startup is even better off starting small. Let it stay small, so that you'll be able to measure your loss and your risk. You'll be able to assess all your risk. Because say, for instance, you're a startup, you took loan or you took a grant, or even if it is from family support, and you go into this business and there is an accident or whatever happened, the issue of security is there, maybe something is stolen. What does the government have in place for people like that kind of startup? What are they going to do? Is it just going to be the end of that business? The bank, how are they even supporting us with loans and grants, and what are the percentages? Is it favorable? Agricultural loans, all of that. And when you're looking into export markets, you want to start small, really, even if you have a lot of money. And in starting small, you need people who are informed of where they are. The location you're going to, is it with high competition? There are a lot of places. See, where I live in the UK, there is not one single African store here like this. Not one. Where I live, in the city I live, not one. And it's then the second largest city in the country, because again, well, in the country, because there are different countries here. So, and it's not because there is no African store, and I have this dream. I don't think the first thing will be like, oh, now put African store. Am I telling myself I will be the first person that would have thought about it? Why are people not setting it up? And that there are Africans in a place, you can agree with me that does not necessarily mean that they have a buying power. Have you actually assessed the buying capacity of those people in that space? Have you actually assessed their class, their earnings and all of that? And do you know the means at which they buy? So if you do not do all of those assessments, and then you pump in your money, or you do not marry yourself with somebody who is grounded in the environment, you are probably shooting another loss. So it's just better to relax. There's a lot of barrier, but that is not to say that it is impossible. Really, it is not impossible. If you do partnership with people, you'll be able to learn and unlearn, and you need to really start small. It's very key to start small, especially when you're going into the global space, and you need government support. You need your government support. You need to do your things as much as, to the best of your knowledge, like as good as we try not to cut corners if you're looking for sustainability. People would say that let's just do this, let's just do that. It's only in Nigeria that NAFDAC could come this year, and before they come another time, you wouldn't know. There is a constant check and rechecking of your facility, and you need to you need to also look at who are your team, who are the people you're playing with. Is it just because they are affordable, they are cheap? Because they are cheap and affordable, they will run away. And you need to gather that skill mind. These people, are they skilled in this industry? What are you producing? You want to go into that place with something that will be catchy, with something that interests, even if it's just one single product, and then you're seeing turnover is there, you're seeing your money, that is quick, and then you can begin to diversify into different into other aspects. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah, it does a lot, not a little bit. Like you've just been, blasting it, and I'm really happy with that. It gives a lot of insight for people looking forward to exploring opportunity in the UK market. Like you've highlighted, it's quite important to do your analysis. Right? You don't just say that okay because you have robust population of Africans in the UK, then you just
Mhm.
the market just like that. It doesn't happen that way. You have to look at, where are they in the UK? What do they want? How deep is their pocket? What are the other competing factors with their disposable income affecting their purchasing power? Is quite important. Understanding your audience, what are some of the trends? Are they buying online? Did they prefer to visit, the physical store? Even when you have knowledge of all of this, you don't just jump into the market and start rather producing en masse. Yeah, it's better for you to, pilot test. Quite important, and for you have to look at the strategy that you use to, enter the
Mhm.
market.
Mhm.
Right, it's quite reasonable or prudent for some businesses rather than seeking to establish physical structure in the UK because of the cost and all that.
Mhm.
Just choose to,
Yeah, yeah. The cost
you
is
know,
the cost. Well, I don't think I remember to mention the cost,
yep,
but the cost here, because you have to pay your bills and you need to understand that you are a
yep,
startup. You have bills to pay back home in Nigeria. Although the bills you are paying in Nigeria might not be a lot, but you still have bills to pay, and you have bills to pay
yeah,
in your store
exactly,
because you need lights, you need everything that
yep,
is
exactly.
required of you.
So these are one of the crucial things that you want to consider, and looking at the different strategies to entering a foreign market, talking about exporting, you know wholly owned subsidiary, franchising, and
Exactly.
have licensing. In fact, like you've mentioned, it's better for you to save yourself the stress of a market that is alien to your understanding. You have someone that understands the process. That's why some people seek partnership with either someone that is already doing what is related to what they are thinking of. They already understand the market, they have the structure already.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they have the audience, you know, about your your goal, aligning together, how you are able to work out things. So there's a question in the comment section that I want you to quickly address. We'll just be taking two more questions because we have gone past um, time, and we have to quickly round up the space. We all have what we are doing already is already extending deeper into the night. So, Biz Susie, I pinned the tweet. She's asking that what if we have just Sun and not NAVDAC? Can I still sell abroad? Is that possible?
No, it's not. Well, if you're looking into the food space, well, it is not possible.
Oh,
It is not possible because NAFDAC is a big force to
okay.
reckon with in the food, and I think food and drug. See, there is no way you want to. In fact, that is your starting point. There is no way you want to take out NAFDAC, and I think they have different agenda. NAFDAC and Sun do not necessarily do the same thing. They are also going to. I think they do a lot of training as to what they require of you, and Standard Organization of Nigeria, being SON, is not necessarily for food alone.
Yeah.
So it's just to say that they are supposed to endorse your products after NAFDAC have endorsed your product. So you cannot jump the process. It's not possible to even have it. If they do their due diligence, they will not even certify that product. Well, of course, it has passed through NAFDAC if it is food products, you know
Okay.
what
I
I mean?
think it's quite important. Like the Sun, the NAVDAC. I think Sun is even beyond just food. It extends to materials as well. Material.
Exactly, exactly.
Some people even go as far as acquiring international certification like the USAID, FDA.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
I
People
get all
go as
those.
far as acquiring USAID,
I
yes.
think if you can get all those things. It even makes your products more appealing and more. It makes it
Like you look
stronger.
very, you are very more serious minded and
Yeah,
make
exactly. Because we have in the world now, people are really very conscious about what they eat. With increasing cases of diseases. Uh, they want to ensure that their food are you know safely produced and they can be traced in case there's any issue. Yeah, so we are just going to take two more questions now, and at the end of the two questions that we take, I would like you to just leave us with a final advice, rather, especially for the small agribusiness. Advice that you wish to leave with them. So the penultimate question I'm going to ask you is that: do you think that as we are seeing opportunities in the UK market and we are increasingly having a lot of Nigerian players there, do you see in the future like we're having a Nigerian supermarket as big as Asda, Waitrose, Amazon? Is that something that we should be expecting in the future, maybe in 10 to 15 years' time? What do you think?
that's a very big yes for me. Like a very big yes. See, you have no idea how much knowledge and how much talent have just entered the UK. Whatever route, I don't care. Being from students or you have a tier two visa, whatever, but the population of youths, if you follow the statistics, the population of youth that have actually entered this country, I'm not going to be surprised. It might even be less than 10, 15 years because we already have some stores that are as big and they're already like incorporating other stuff. And to tell you that these products are even much, much, much more expensive than what you have in Asda. You know, it's just a matter of, combining efforts. If the Nigerian government is interested, I want to believe that the likes of Tesco or Asda or all this store must have the support of the government. If the Nigerian government if the Nigerian players have the support of their government, I tell you, these people are going to thrive. It's very possible. Like I see all of our products, like, well, there might be some level of restriction. You know what I mean? Like some level of, restriction, or maybe to like reduce the impact, but that it will not happen. This one will happen. It must definitely it will happen because people can pull their hands together, but individuals will do it. This youth, the people that we have been seeing here, these individuals will do it. The power of social media will actually is a device that they will use. They will tackle all these things for real. And it will come to stay, and it will stay for real, and it will stay like that, and it will be like that. So it's not a thing that we should doubt. I don't think it's a thing that we should doubt. Well, an individual might not be able to pull that through, but when two, three, four players come together that are already big players. Do you know about this shop called Wosi already?
I've had Woswosi.
So if you see when they started and the years they have spent, if they continue in that trend, eh? If you check the analytics, you realize that I'm not sure that there is anything stopping more of those or four of those from doing Asda or from doing Tesco.
I have a question. Will B Spice be joining them as well?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I don't know. I cannot answer that.
No, it should.
But I know for sure that
That's a very
we,
big, bold vision. Yeah. So if
yes.
possible, yeah. But I'm actually looking forward to that. Seeing B Spice on a global, landscape. There was this big banner that you shared of B Spice.
Mhm. Yeah, that's the dream,
You know,
definitely. Yeah,
like
yes.
yeah.
So that's the dream. That's the dream. It's going to get there. It's going to, see the dream is valid. It's going to come to place, and it's it's going to work. That's the only thing I can see. Nothing else.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going. It might take some time. We might be moving at snail speed, but all the assignment that needs to be done, all the things that need to be carried out are being carried out, and it's going to get there. And the food market, the food business of the UK, we already know that it's the 37th state of Nigeria. So it's the only thing that the UK don't have right now is to be the capital of Nigeria. That is what they don't have at the moment. So as long as Lagos is there and is still very close, and this time zone we are sharing, and the connection and the rapport. See, the mind of youngsters now, the people that have come into this space, and with the help of data and with the help of this bright mind. Well, say many years ago when people used to come and do it. See, the people that came here now, they are not even joking. They are not speaking accents. They don't send you. So I'm not surprised. It's more like they are coming like they mean to come and collect something by fire by force. You know that feeling?
I think it's the age of radical disruption by youth, like the kind of creativity they are bringing to the space, how they are
You
utilizing
will be surprised when
is
a
just really
Nigerian
impressive
person.
and crazy.
Seriously, I'm not even surprised. Like, we don't waste time at it, and as much as possible we're trying our best. And I know people will do stuff. Things will happen by God's grace, with God on our side.
So with this, actually, I think that small businesses, they need to keep improving. They should be watching trend and be developing at a very fast pace. Like
Mm-hmm.
it has
Mm-hmm.
a certain stage that if you don't, you either adapt or you go into extinction. You think
Mm-hmm.
so?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was even going to ask you, you did business management, and it's obviously showing in your business, the way you speak, the way you understand issues that has to do with business, the way you approach issues of business. So I was thinking that, are you going to advise would be entrepreneurs, small businesses, that are looking forward um to having a global presence and also domestic presence as well, that they should undertake this kind of academic pursuit, to improve their knowledge, take short courses, trainings, that, it makes them better understand the landscape of business, management issues, and also in better positioning themselves. Do you think these are some of the things that small business owners and would be entrepreneurs should take?
Okay, yeah. So it's well, everybody might not necessarily come in as per, oh, I want to get a master's degree, but it's important to get some form of knowledge. See, the person that have stopped learning have already died. Like,
Mhm.
there is nothing. you would you would just realize that the moment you need those things, they are coming to you. You already know them. See, if not because of this, my master's degree, practically, in my case, I would have entered the UK with some fund and some things that I think I know, and just start my business. And I would have learned the hard way. I would have learned the hard way. So it might not necessarily be like coming to the four walls of the classroom. It might just be some level of training, or some, offline classes of self-training, or maybe mentorship, or maybe discussions like this. It is very, very, very important to get some form of education, because if you don't live in a place, you want to just bamboos and just come here, and I don't know, there's no amount of money that you have that you will not go to waste, because even with the level of education and with all the things you're going to learn from school, and all the assessments you're going to have to do, all the projects you're going to have to carry out, you're just going to realize that it makes you have a feel of you being in the real world. What is going on? See, without education, or without you like upscaling yourself, wherever you are, you may not know that you're still like 5 years ago. And the world have moved past that level.
Mm.
If I'm going to do a business now, there is an approach I will use to doing my business that is different from what I used to do. You know, there are people that I'm going to be engaging.
you can't take education away from it. It does not necessarily have to be like a big money kind of education, but you have to keep learning. I'm going to advise people to go for it. I'm going to tell people, anybody, whoever you are, learn, keep learning, learn all the time. And I'm going to say that don't stop learning, whether it is pertaining to what you want to do or not. It's everything one way or the other will be very useful. So I will tell people that want to do it, that are startup, not to use their business startup money to get the education, but to make sure they keep learning. Whichever way, you can go on YouTube. There's so many things you can learn practically, and even the best form of learning, you can even intern. You can even decide to attach yourself to somebody doing something similar. Do you know you're also learning? You might not be getting well paid enough, but you're probably even learning better than the person that has paid a lot of money in the classroom. So you definitely need to learn. Taking out learning completely, the person is dead. Definitely the business is dead. But you need to learn. You need to unlearn some things in your head that you think you know. You don't know anything. You know nothing. You know nothing. Like you don't know anything at all. So
yeah, go ahead. I'm with you.
yeah. So you actually need to learn a lot of things. You need to believe in yourself and go for it. It doesn't matter if they're paying a very low wage for something, but you know you're going there because you want to learn something. So why not? You know why you're going to do what you're doing, but you're not going to go and sell your land. You're not going to go and sell your car or your property to come and learn and say that, oh, now that I have learned, I've known everything, because you will not even learn everything in that four walls of the classroom without asking questions, or with just, being in the space of 18 months. You're not going to learn everything, but you're going to be so fired up. You are going to be so exposed. You're going to see things. So somebody like me, like I said, I'm coming with this point of view that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, blah blah blah. If I didn't come in as a student and I want to learn international business and I want to see how data is helping things to be better, if I did not come with that big question in my heart, with that space, I would not be able to get an answer. Now, if I jump that stage and go and dabble into my business, that stage that I jump will now open up at some point. That lacuna may take me another 4-5 years to fill up. So at the end of the day, why not acquire the education or the knowledge before you go into doing anything?
Exactly. So I was even going to add that acquiring, the knowledge doesn't have to be you traveling abroad. You could be also in
Anywhere.
as well. So, and I was also going to add that the entrepreneurs, they need to challenge themselves. Put yourself out there to learn things. It's just you know this, right? You might be feeling like when you are in Nigeria, in the education system in Nigeria, taking the courses, taking the exam. Then you get abroad and you start studying. You see that it's very, very different from in fact, many of people studying in their first essays, their first exam, they feel a lot until they now see that this is a different ball game.
Entirely.
As you to apply a lot of things, think beyond. It's not just memorization, understanding things. So this applies to the issue of business. Not just to thinking that, okay, let me just produce this and just serve the people. You get into the market, try to
you can't just have a product before you have to have a market.
challenge your assumption. Yeah, and you have new insight into things. I can't just have enough of your wisdom today. You've said a lot, so I just want you to leave us with final piece of advice before we end the live space. And shortly after you give us the final piece of advice, I'm going to recap the whole event for people that joined us midway, just joining us, so they, get updated and kept abreast with what we discussed. So you can go ahead.
Okay, so I thought you wanted to give a recap before I say the final
Okay,
words.
to give a recap
I'm not sure if I'm following.
that
It's pretty
that
late.
works as well.
Yeah, so
A recap that works. I should go ahead.
Yeah,
So
if
we've
you want to.
discussed a lot of things today. Actually, we were trying to see the agribusiness space, the opportunity there, the challenges considering the UK and the Nigerian market. Yeah, we were able to establish that despite some of the obstacles that has to do with um exporting your produces, and the issue of certification, food safety, and also even operating within the UK, that is actually possible for you to establish a profitable business, but that you don't just go about establishing a business like that. You have to understand what exactly you want to be doing. You have to understand your market, your target audience. You know a lot about them. You don't just say that, okay, I'm supplying into the UK. Where in the UK are you supplying? Who are you supplying to? Even you might think that you know Nigerians until you get and see that their kind of thinking has changed based on the environment. It's been influenced
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
by the kind of environment that they are staying in. You are seeing that, okay, Nigerians are big spenders and all that. It really did, it was really something that I experienced. Like when you are there and people want to buy something, they if they want to buy something of £5, they convert it to naira first. Okay, they'll be like, this is about 50,000 naira. No, 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 no. And that's the
No.
issue that we keep having, especially with African diaspora that are buying something from the Nigerian market. Like, let's say now you are looking at employing the service of a civil writer abroad. That is standard £50 or upward based on the kind of packaging that you are seeking to employ. But when you want to seek the service of a writer in Nigeria, looking at, okay, to be cheaper, and that person is now calling £50 for you also. You are now converting that £50 to naira, and you are saying you
Mm-hmm.
cannot pay that person. Meanwhile, you are going to pay that same amount in the
Or
UK,
even more.
or even
Mm-hmm.
more. So it's
Mm-hmm.
it's one of the things that I think that the African consumer in Nigeria.
So that actually talks about value positioning. So
Exactly.
it's just like your worth is not where your market is, Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So you have to really actually position yourself. I'll give this kind of example here. Um, when you are selling a product and you meet people and they would easily price down your products, you become price taker rather than price giver. You are saying that, okay, I'm selling this smoked catfish for 10,000 naira a kilo, and they are saying, we cannot buy that. And you will see that these people, they will go to the supermarket and buy it more than 10,000 naira, simply because there's already standard established. There's no one for you to go and argue with. Do you want to go and argue with this?
There's no way you're
Yeah,
pricing what you have seen
yeah, exactly.
down.
So I think that is very important for agribusinesses, especially the small agribusinesses, to establish some form of standardization, some form of barrier with their potential buyers. And a very good way to do that is actually selling via social media. You are placing your market on website, on social media, fixed price. No one is going to come and tell you, no, I'm not buying at this price. It's either you are buying or not,
Mm-hmm.
because you are not facing with the buyer. So it's one of the things we actually need to consider. So we've said that conducting your analysis, and based on that, establishing your market entry strategy. And even when you are choosing your market entry strategy, you should understand that this is a new market for you. You don't really know much about created the 4 different market entry strategies that we have. The franchising, exporting, whole, uh, wholly owned subsidiary, and licensing. It's much easier if you are just starting out and you're a small player, for you to export, than looking at you want to get established physical structure in the UK. Even here also, like, it's much easier for you to outsource production if the primary production of cattle very high. Why would you engage in that where you don't have the feedback? You could leave it for the big players to play in that and outsource. You are playing in the middle. Whatever cost that you're doing transportation and adding value is passed on to the final consumer. In that way, you are saving yourself any potential profit hemorrhage here. So that's one of the things. Exports, actually looking at, a company or seller that has understanding of the market there, they have the knowledge and bank on them. They enter into partnership, and many times they have the audience. So they don't need to be doing marketing and all that. So it might be hard to find, and it might be hard to find a partner, a seller that has the same idea and goal. It's far safer for you to go that line than saying that I want to just start exporting. No, it doesn't really work. Yeah, so that is what we've discussed so far, and we also mentioned, the need for certification. We mentioned from some organization, the NAFDAC, SUN, and some people go as far as secure
USAID.
international certification, like you've mentioned, USAID, the FDA, and all that to make your product stronger.
So that one I was trying to remember is FDA.
FDA, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, FDA. I think FDA is in the US, is it not?
No.
Okay.
Let me look it up. No.
Right. Okay. So that's that for me. So I will leave you, Bunmi, to take charge and just leave us with the final advice.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. All right. So FDA is in the US. So the one that is in fishery and the certification is FDF. So I was trying to remember FDF. So that is the Federal Department of Fisheries. So that FDA is that of the US. So those are the certifications that you might need to export.
Okay. You can go ahead with the advice you want to leave us.
Well, so what I would just say to any young entrepreneurs that think, oh, UK is the next market, is for them to do their due diligence properly, and for them to have a plan and like a solid plan, for them to do a great analysis, and then to project appropriately, because it's a different world entirely. These are two different worlds. You might think that, oh, I'm coming here, if I can be making, say, 2 million naira every month in Nigeria, that means, and these people that are buying from me, they are making it in pounds, that means when I get to UK, I'll be making 4 million. No. In the UK, you pay your labor per hour. So you have to do in-depth analysis. When I say in-depth analysis, if it means that you need to make friends and seek mentorship, your mentorship is key, your training is key. You are not going to be hiring somebody to wash your fish, or maybe somebody to label for you, to pay them less than the normal wage that you're going to pay them. You're going to pay them per hour, and you're going to pay your bills, you're going to do everything. So aside of the finances, you need to get proper training, and you need to have a focus, and maybe you need to pray. Maybe maybe you need to tell the universe to align your purpose. If you believe in God, you need to pray.
I see you are very big in spirituality, and it does work here. To be spiritual, put everything into prayer that you want to achieve.
No, now that we can, not everything is spiritual, but maybe you just have to, if you need to.
When you were talking about paying, for labor, and a lot of people really know this. The cost of producing in the UK or EU or West abroad or global north is actually high. Like I was reading something, like in Nigeria you could hire a maid and be paying them per month, and they're advising people that don't try that in the UK because you will pay a lot. You'll be paying per hour.
Yes. So that's why you can see a lot of people not see living in Nigeria is luxury.
Exactly.
I think everybody knows that. Like, you're paying somebody a whole month 100,000 naira for driving you about for a whole freaking month, or you're paying another person 50,000 naira for doing your dishes, or for a whole month. There's no way you're doing that here. No way, except you're willing to go to jail.
So, thank you so much, Bunmi of B Spice. For those that don't know, Bunmi is a big
What?
operator, agribusiness. Let me give the description, please. She's a big
No.
operator in the agribusiness space in Nigeria when it comes to fishery and aquaculture. She's very humble, I know, but they've done they've introduced rather a lot of new products in the aquaculture space, fish chunks, fish flakes, different.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that you could even share that package.
Oh, I might have one
It's
here
really
if you,
like a box of.
because of people that would view later. I might have one here to show you if you hold on 1 second.
She has got a lot of work done, tons on fresh fish production and exported also a lot of smoked fish and other edibles. Yeah, so that's our own portfolio and our mission. Thank you so much for attending this live event. For those that don't know, my name is Toib Aziz, known as the Lasgidi Farmer, operating from Lagos. And if you are wondering why, if you are just watching for the first time, wondering why this event is taking place, this is actually the 10th episode of
So
uh,
I think I have one of the box. So this is it.
okay,
I think I have
that,
one here.
that's it. If you look at that, you think that is a cereal, yeah, a cereal box. Is the packaging is very nice actually. Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
really
Yeah. So, and then I think I have this one too.
yeah, that's
So
good.
I think I have a number of them. We used to have 10, and then we narrowed down to 7, based on, of course, our market analysis and
Okay,
all
so
of that.
should anyone be listening from Nigeria and also listening in the UK, and you need fish that is very tasty,
Okay, thank you for that.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, gives you the aroma in your soup, the best of aroma, you can always reach out to Bumi and Be Spice. They not only sell some other food produces as well, gari, yam flour, ewedu, pepper, snails, various things. You can even get
Mm-hmm.
package, and you have your whole year order just have in your store and just be eating that way. So I do recommend her. She's really doing a big job, and we look forward to you having a global presence. Yeah. So I was just introducing the audience to this space. If they are just joining us for the first time, this is the 10th episode. As the Last Giddy Farmer podcast is available on Spotify and also on YouTube. We've covered a whole lot of topics in the agribusiness space and also farming production of agricultural crops, cucumber. We are looking at doing tomatoes as well. Also taking on greenhouse production. We've spoken on catfish in the past, spoken of the need for a sustainable agricultural extension system to power, agricultural productivity in the nation. We've spoken about agri-tech as well, um, revolutionizing and transforming our agriculture by infusing, technology and innovation. And we'll be having some other events in the future, talking about land acquisition. Farmland acquisition is really a big problem for those that want to embark on commercial and large scale farming. Yeah, how do you secure large expanse of land? And it's usually a problem, where you pay, issues come up, didn't pay to genuine people. We are having on that as well. We'll be talking about GMO also, future, talking about, I think someone was emphasizing that data rather is really a problem in agriculture, and I share as well, because like you've shared with us, Bumi, we don't have updated data. They are usually obsolete, and when we even uh, have uh, updated ones, incomplete, is such that you are not able to, assess past events properly, to be able to make sense of present event, and you are not even able to, garner data at present to make projections, and that's really a huge, problem. And there will also be another episode on, talking about the real agricultural productivity. How can we, reach agricultural productivity beyond just, talks? We want to talk about the fundamentals, the economics, the business angles of all, considering the benefit and the cost, the opportunity cost as well. So these are things that I want to um, explore in the future episodes. So do go to Spotify, search for the Last Gidi Farmer podcast, subscribe, and also on YouTube as well to subscribe. We'll be doing a lot in the agricultural space. We want to thank you so much for attending this event. I thank you so much, Bumi. We look forward to having you here later. You know
Amen.
about we will be coming up with something very interesting in the future. Sure, you like the way she spoke today, and since you like it, you want to join us. Thank you so much for joining us. Do have a lovely night rest.
All right. Thank you. Well done, Toy. Bye bye.